Every summer, most tutors face the same thing: empty calendars, dropped income, and that quiet fear that sits in the pit of your stomach. What if it's always like this? And you're also thinking, how am I going to pay the bills if nobody's booking? But here's the truth: summer doesn't have to be slow. In fact, you can actually make more money during these months if you know how to plan for it. So if you're already thinking, I'll just watch this later, that might be the reason why you're stuck in the summer slump. So stick around because I'm going to be breaking down 4 simple ways to get students during the summer and keep your income flowing year round. Let's go. Our normal year might look like maybe there's a little bit of a drop in January for a tutor, and then in February, it starts to spike up a little bit more. Maybe in March, it spikes up. Maybe April with spring break, it comes down a little bit. And then we end up with finals or the end of the year, and parents are trying to catch their kid up like crazy. And then all of a sudden, June, July, and August hit, and there's this big swoop of downward energy when it comes to your tutoring. This is what it looks like for most people. But what I'm going to share with you today is how can you take this same chart, keep moving it into this upward projection, but then keep it moving in the upward direction instead of the downward direction. So here's where we're going to try to keep it for the summer with these 4 tips. So the very first one is to think about the areas that your students are struggling with, okay? So they're struggling with this all of the time. You have certain concepts. If you're a math teacher, maybe it is fractions and whatever level it is that you teach, right? You can think about what most of my students are typically struggling with. I could create a enrichment course that is going to help me be able to close the gap for those students in that specific area. I could create this as one-on-one tutoring, or I could create this as a group class where kids are also learning from each other. And in order to make the payment structure a little bit easier, if you are looking to do a group class, but when it comes to payment options, you can actually have the parents getting the other students to fill that class for you. The way that it works is if they would like to pay you one on one, let's say that you are typically making $100 an hour. If they would like this at a cheaper rate and they get one student to join, then both of those students can pay instead $90 an hour. If you end up getting 3 students in that class, then each one can pay $80 an hour. Now, notice here, this doesn't mean that you're making less, you're actually making more money for having more kids in the class. And if they were to get 4 other students in the class, then they would only pay $70 an hour, and you would be making that 70 times 4 per hour that you work, which means that you can actually work less hours as well, because this is going to allow you to still be working with a good amount of students, but then at the same time be earning more per hour so that you don't have to work as many hours in the summer hours as well. So this is one option. Another option is to think about pre-teaching. So pre-teaching is where you think about what are the things or what are the classes that my students are going to be taking next year? And how can I set this up as make sure your child is ready for this particular class? So maybe they are going to have to prepare for, let's say, calculus. So they've gone through pre-calculus, maybe they've done okay with pre-calculus, but now you want to make sure that they're ready for calculus, right? So you could be pre-teaching what they're going to be learning in calculus so that when they encounter that information, it's not as hard for them to be able to learn. So again, this could be done on a one-on-one, or it could be done as a group class. where you have the parents end up filling the class for you. A lot of times, what happens when you try to fill the class for yourself, you don't have the students to really fill that time slot. But when the parents are finding that time, they'll be more likely to convince them to do the time slot that's going to work for all of them and then come to you to see what times will work within your schedule. So that's what you were looking for in this specific scenario. Another option is an enrichment class. So you could have an enrichment class where you are immersing them in the material. So let's say if you're a reading tutor, maybe you're doing a summer book club, or if you are a math tutor or a STEM tutor, you're trying to think about what would be a good fun project to be able to immerse the kids in over the summer for a certain amount of weeks. Those enrichment classes can be really exciting for parents to want to have their child to join, especially since a lot of parents, they don't want their kids to have summer learning loss. And summer learning loss doesn't just happen in reading, it can happen in all of the subject areas. So parents who want to be proactive, keep their kids off of TikTok and Snapchat a little bit longer, want to keep them away from the video games a little bit longer. These types of courses are really going to tie in with their interests and skills they'd like to have their child have. Maybe it's a coding class that you offer coding and it's something that's exciting for you. It doesn't even have to be within the area that you typically, tutor. You can think about what skills do I have that kids would want or kids are going to need in the future. And honestly, the only thing that is holding you back is your own imagination. And the last thing I want you guys to really think about is early marketing. So you want to begin talking about like, why are you offering this course? What is it going to be able to do for their child? When is it going to be offered? How can they sign up? Can they put money down now or should they wait till later when it's a little bit closer? Some people want to save their seat and so they'll put a down payment down for the class to hold their seat. So you want to start talking about this as early as you possibly can. It's April right now, and a lot of kids at the end of May is when it begins to, they start ending school and into June, beginning of June, you have the rest of the kids follow suit. And so you want to start getting the word out there now because this is the time when people are really planning on out what are they going to be doing for their child over the summer. I'd love to be able to know, what do you think about this? If you like this information, you like videos like this, hit that subscribe and share with me what is something that you're going to try over the summer to be able to increase the amount of students that you have. And if you'd like more information about this, I've created a blog post that shares more information specifically all about these different strategies. Check it on out. I'll leave the link inside of the description.